Steve, you ready? I'd like to call to order the Judiciary Public Safety Committee. Can we have a moment of silence? And the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Angie, Commissioner Beeden,
Present.
Commissioner Torello,
Present.
Commissioner Samasco,
Present.
Commissioner Zeller,
Present.
Commissioner Rushing,
Here.
Commissioner Vanden Bosch.
Here. Moving on to approval of the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Citizens to be heard. Mary Callahan? Okay. Pastor Anthony?
Anthony Farrell, St. Clair Township. I'd like to begin our meeting with prayer. So let's look to our Lord and our Savior and turn to Him in our faith. Let's pray. Father, we thank you for grace that you give to us. Thank you for this meeting, all those who are represented. Thank you for all the concerns, the people, the voices, the views that are expressed. I pray that you will lead us to be kind, gentle, compassionate, understanding to one another. But lead us, Lord, to do what is right. Give us insight, give wisdom. Pray for the commissioners who are serving in the capacity. May you give them guidance, give them wisdom, give them understanding and insight. And so we thank you for this gathering. Thank you for the privileges you've given to us. And we ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Sherry? Yeah. Sherry, yes.
Sherry Mercurio, Clyde Township. It's Nurses Week. Happy Nurses Week to all the nurses. In honor of that, I'm just going to read a few quotes from some complaints at the health department from nurses. For their safety, I'm not going to get into the whole things or put them in situations where they could be identified, so you can FOIA these for yourself if you need them. It has come to my attention that Dr. Nevin has not only had questionable interactions with the Board of Commissioners leading to the rescission of his resignation, he has also acted in a manner inconsistent with the foundation of public health. This behavior undermines the established protocols within our institution, but also creates an environment of fear and intimidation among staff members. On September 19th, he rescinded standing orders regarding influenza vaccine administration that he had previously signed September 15th, 2024, under the guise of him not being familiar with the health department's administrative policy mandating flu vaccine. This leads me to believe he is abusing his power, spearheaded by the unprecedented actions taken by the BOC on September 19th, 2024, to not only change policy, but require nurses to go against what they are contractually obligated to do, MNA Unit 1 and 2, Article 10. Quote, I dread coming to work and having to deal with him and his constant methods of putting staff down and trying to intimidate them into agreeing with his anti-public health point of view. Most of us work in public health because we believe in what we are doing and want to serve our community. Financially, there are better opportunities elsewhere, but some of us want to make a difference. His policies are putting our accreditation at risk, which will lead to loss of funding and services to our most vulnerable residents. He disregards his supervisor. He will only listen to the Board of Commissioners. The board's involvement has made his behavior worse as he now feels he could do whatever he wants with no accountability. Staff feel there is nothing that can be done about Dr. Nevin because he is in the back pockets of several county commissioners. The morale here is the lowest I've ever seen it in any workplace. This is a sad situation because I love public health, but Dr. Nevin does not. He is using his position as medical director to intimidate myself and others while creating barriers to the public access to essential services. His actions towards women in the workplace are belittling, condescending, and dismissive. He has a blatant disregard for anyone's opinion but his own, making it impossible to have an open dialogue with him. Dr. Nevin has made multiple comments about vaccines that are anti-vax in nature. He has not signed off on multiple policies and orders that are required for us to be accredited by the state. He has made comments about how he feels bad for all the little girls that work here because they won't have jobs in the next year. He has made comments about public health not being needed. He has set up barriers for clients to get vaccines, which is the complete opposite of the reason that we are here.
You need to wrap it up, please.
He makes comments to clients that contradict our nurses' policies and CDC guidelines that we have to follow.
Gary Montgomery.
Well, good evening. The reason I'm here is I wanted to offer some verbal support for Ray and Kelly Tucker in regards to their experience with animal control. Apparently, some other people may be here for that reason as well. I just wanted to share that I've been over their house multiple times over the years. We've known these people for 20 years. Never seen any sign that any animals were being abused or mistreated. We are obviously concerned about the trial that took place and the way it came out. Personally, I'm not convinced it came out the way it should have come out, but that's the way it is. Ray is currently in the hospital. He suffered a stroke from the high blood pressure that he incurred as a result of all the things that were said about him and things that were done to him. I would just like us to, I don't know exactly what you've got on the agenda for tonight as far as animal control, but if there's a way to rein the organization in to make it more accountable to the people and to not abuse authority like I feel was abused in Ray and Kelly's situation, I think that would be a good thing. Thank you.
Melissa Miller.
Hi. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Melissa Miller. I'm the director of your animal control, and I'm speaking here today because, quite honestly, I can't decide on the things that I am most frustrated and find abhorrent in the last 7 weeks. I want to be clear that animal control always contacts sworn law enforcement with jurisdiction once a welfare situation appears to be approaching criminal status. And that was exactly the case with the current criminal case with Connie Warner, that the interim director at the time contacted a deputy who arrived on scene within 19 minutes, and it was Mr. Fletcher prior to a person becoming disorderly on scene. The next issue I have is the complete misinformation in the corporate counsel's letter to this body that contains multiple inaccuracies regarding both that case, our involvement, including leaving out that all animal control officers and staff were listed on page 11, not included in the report. I do not understand the proposed ordinance if its role is to increase the law enforcement powers of animal control. The dog law does not allow you to expand the authority that is not provided at the state level. Conceptually, why on earth would we want to seize a simply unlicensed dog, regardless of its licensing stature, that exposes the county to liability, goes against the 1982 Attorney General opinion, Nikita versus Detroit at Sixth Circuit Court in 2016, the Court of Appeals, the Federal Court of Appeals in 2017, Floyd Hardrick versus City of Detroit, and as well as multiple rulings within the Sixth Circuit. It expands the dangerous dog seizures to the point that it violates both the dangerous dog statute of MCL 287-286A, which requires no seizure, and violates the Dangerous Dog Seizure Act, occurrent with the owner's pursuant options to house an animal at a vet clinic, a boarding clinic, an animal control, or a humane organization with a vet of record. You are violating the Fourth Amendment by thinking of enacting anything within this ordinance, and I will not stand for that. Contemporaneously with this, in a broader scope, the interference of members in this body with an ongoing criminal charge and a criminal proceeding at the court is reprehensible. That is all.
Jennifer. Sorry, I didn't get it. Rita.
I am speaking today as a citizen of St. Clair County and a resident of Commissioner Smasco's district. These are my personal views. I want to begin by acknowledging the board members who work ethically and diligently to represent the people of this county. However, recent actions by this board, particularly at the last meeting, have raised serious concerns about overreach, bias, and decision-making that appears to disregard both expertise and transparency. Specifically, I am deeply concerned about efforts led by Commissioner Smasco to remove livestock welfare oversight from animal control and transfer to the Sheriff's Department. This is not a minor administrative change. It is a fundamental shift that puts animal welfare, public trust, and proper investigations at risk. The Sheriff's Department does not receive training in animal welfare standards, body condition scoring, sanitation requirements, animal handling, or the care and management of livestock. Deputies also lack the partnerships and resources necessary for housing, transport, veterinary response, or handling live animal evidence. Recent incidents have shown that failure to follow proper animal handling protocols has resulted in preventable animal deaths. St. Clair County residents take animal welfare seriously, both for pets and for livestock. Many of us were raised with animals and around farms. We understand the difference between legitimate agricultural operations and criminal neglect. No one is asking for responsible farmers to be targeted or for animals to be seized unnecessarily. What we do expect is that abuse and neglect, when they rise to a criminal level, are properly investigated and not ignored. Animal control already works effectively with the Sheriff's Department. They conduct welfare checks, resolve most issues through education and follow-up, and when criminal conditions are found, they involve law enforcement to handle warrants and charges. This system works. It is transparent, professional, and accountable. So the question is simple. Why change a system that is functioning properly? Why remove trained professionals from investigations and replace them with individuals who are not equipped to recognize or manage animal welfare cases? If I call 911 for a medical emergency, an ambulance responds, not a deputy. If criminal activity is discovered, law enforcement is called in. Animal welfare should work the same way. As a resident, I want the Sheriff's Department focused on crimes against people, not diverted from those responsibilities. This proposed change sets a dangerous precedent. The board should be asking why one person is pushing so hard to fix something that is not broken. The citizens of St. Clair County deserve transparency, expertise, and decisions that protect both people and animals.
Jay Berger.
My name is Jay Berger. I'm a livestock farmer in both Macomb and St. Clair County. I'd like to speak out tonight in strong support for the animal control ordinance that has been proposed. Michigan law already clearly designates who is responsible for livestock, and that is the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development. This ordinance doesn't remove protection for livestock. It simply recognizes that those complaints are already supposed to go through the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, not local animal control. By keeping animal control focused on dogs and cats, which is what the Michigan Dog Law of 1919 actually gives them authority to do, we're not creating a gap in oversight. We're just correcting the boundaries so that each agency is working within their actual legal authority. This is clearly the way to move forward without leaving the door open for harassment, lawfare, or activism against our farmers who are simply trying to feed our families and communities. Thank you.
Rachel Kufa?
Hi, my name is Rachel Kuffa, resident of the city of St. Clair. I'm here regarding the board's decision advising animal control to no longer take calls regarding livestock and instead allow the local sheriff's office to make those concerns. Last month, we heard public comment from both sides, and one theme was consistent, despite their opposing positions on who should oversee these issues. Each side feels the other lacks the education or experience to handle farm animal cases appropriately. I was especially concerned to hear from local nonprofits who said they've historically supported animal control with expertise, education, and assistance. Nonprofits play an important role, but they should not be the backbone of a core government function. Enforcement, investigation, and animal welfare standards are county responsibilities, and enforcement, investigation, and should be funded, staffed, and treated accordingly, My opinion is that the specific agency that this board appoints to handle this matter is less important on whether or not we train the appropriate area, whether it be animal control or the sheriffs, and give them clear standards, adequate resources for that responsibility. This board has a statutory responsibility to oversee animal control and its funding. With that responsibility comes accountability for how animal welfare concerns are handled. I'm an attorney, and while this is not my area of practice, the recent cases involving animal control and livestock have piqued my interest, and I've done a little bit of research. The standards of care for a pet and livestock aren't the same for obvious reasons. We have to ensure that whoever responds understands agricultural practices, seasonal consideration, and accepted livestock care standards. At the same time, we want to protect the animals from true neglect without over-penalizing reasonable farm owners by applying pet-based standards. I truly believe that there are some recent cases in this county, including the Tucker case, where animal control is applying an inappropriate standard of care and over-penalizing their owners. My request from this board is straightforward. Whoever you assign this responsibility to, please ensure they have clear authority, specialized training, consistent standards, and sufficient funding. Farmers, animal welfare advocates, law enforcement, and the public all deserve clarity and competence, not gaps filled by nonprofits.
Joe Pavlov?
Hi, everyone. I'm Joe Pavlo. I represent you in Lansing. I'm not going to be able to be at your general meeting, so I appreciate the opportunity to just keep you informed on what's going on in Lansing. Of course, the budget is huge right now. As far as the budget is concerned, the House turned in a budget at the end of April. The budget needs to be confirmed by July 1. The Senate turned one in, and we're a long ways away from each other. Last year, the budget was smaller than it had been in 10 years, and we're trying to bring that budget down another $100 million by cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. Unfortunately, the Senate version wants to increase your taxes by another $800 million, and then they also want to raid the rainy day fund by $400 million. So as you can see, we're a long ways apart. As far as the budget that we, I also wanted to tell you, last year we passed a bill in the House that if we don't have the budget passed by July 1, we don't get our pay. Unfortunately, it did not pass the Senate, so we're going to try that again this year. It's crazy to have a budget that's done by October 1st. That doesn't do anybody any good. As far as the roads are concerned, we're adding another 100 million to the 2 billion that we have annually in order to be able to fix the roads faster. Also, as far as education, we're adding another $250 per student to the foundation that we have to bring it up to $10,300 per student, and that's a record high. So that's about all I want to talk about on the budget. But I do want to mention a couple of events. I am going to be inviting all of the House of Representatives, all 110, and the Senate, all 38, for Port Huron for Boat Week. And so I'm looking for activities for them to do. Number one, we already have the Huron Lady booked for them to go out on. I've talked to Captain Tony Brandero. He's going to be taking some of the reps out on the Lake Pilots Association. I know we have beaches. I know we have museums, the Ice Museum, and things like that. But I'm also looking for the city of Port Huron or the GOP or somebody to do something as far as hospitality to make them feel welcome here so that they'll want to come back. That's my whole idea, is to get them to know this part of the state. We have a beautiful area that they don't know about because most of them go to the other side of the state. But once they see the beautiful area combined with the hospitality, I think it's going to be phenomenal. So I'm open to ideas and suggestions there. And the other thing is we're very close to the small business forum that we're planning on doing either in September or October. And that would be for all of the small businesses in the area. Brian Calley, who's a former lieutenant governor, who's now head of the Michigan Small Business Association, is going to be speaking.
You need to wrap it up, Joe.
Okay, we also might be having someone come from the national level. So come to my office or call my office if there's anything I can do for you. Thank you.
Craig Archer.
My name is Craig Archer. I'm a resident of the city of St. Clair. I'm here on behalf of the Tuckers. I want to kind of explain a concept and how it's really relevant to what's happened. My father died because of the whole idea of color of authority or color of law, and that is when somebody is placed in a position of authority and abuses that authority. My father was given a drug called Seroquel. He had dementia. That's an antipsychotic. That was given to him on the 1st of December, and he was dead on the 25th of December. The judge who had appointed a conservator did not take the time to investigate as this was unfolding, and if you'd put people in a room with lie detectors, you would have got to the truth of this. I think what has happened in the case of the Tuckers is definitely a case of actions done under the color of authority that are inappropriate. What led up to the appearance of animal control, Kelly Tucker and her daughter were having severe pneumonia and feeling very poorly, and Ray Tucker had had a stroke. So the morning that, or the day animal control showed up, there were 9 animal control officers. There were deputy sheriffs and state police. I talked to Jeff Bohm about this, who said typically in a case where there's an issue, you would have animal control contact the owners and give them some notice. And thinking about the severity of what was done and the severity of reaction, it was very hot that day. A turkey had died and a bunny because of lack of water. Okay, so Ray stumbles out of the house. He cannot see properly. And he's told that basically he's going to have to pay $32,000 or he could sign over his animals. They took all the animals. They took the family dog too, by the way. Then what proceeded after that, after they'd taken their animals, is that, and mind you, there was no initial contact at all. So picture this being your home and somebody showing up and threatening you this way and feeling that you have to waive the right to your animals. They were since sentenced with felonies. Ray, the reason Kelly is not here tonight is her husband had another stroke because of the pressure. She told me that 15 families have been targeted, and in other excessive ways in which a lot of those people are afraid to be here tonight, honestly. The Eighth Amendment says that excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishment. I think this is
You
an
need to wrap it up.
excessive.
You had your 3
Okay,
minutes.
I am asking this, the county commissioners to have an independent investigation and talk to all the
Wrap it
victims
up.
of this. And I think it has to
Need
be
to wrap
somebody
it up.
not in this county.
Everybody gets 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Barbie Stewart.
Barbie Stewart, and I'm here because I really believe in this. I think there's a lot of people who are really nitpicking animal control. Nothing is perfect.
Could you talk into the mic so everybody can hear you?
Nothing runs perfect, nothing. Animal control, I think, is being picked apart. They are very professional. They do their job every day with compassion, and they're very passionate about it. I know the Sheriff's Department is very professional also. The Sheriff's Department is busy with taking care of St. Clair County with all the situations and crime that goes on. Animal control does not want to arrest people. I don't understand why anyone would take away animal control's ability for making initial contact with people. The sheriff shows up, and that's pretty intimidating. And you have people who might not need more than a talk or some education, or maybe some help with an extra tie-out instead of a large chain, or maybe some suggestions for shelter. They might not need anything more than that. If they do, then animal control would probably have the backup from the Sheriff's Department. But taking away their ability to do welfare checks is completely wrong. And even with livestock, because it's the same thing. What is the Sheriff's Department going to do? They're going to put on their poop boots to walk through somebody's farm and look at their animals? No, but animal control does that. They're trained to do this kind of stuff, and they're very kind and compassionate with the people. They don't carry guns, they don't carry mace, they have cameras that can be checked. Animal control should be able to at least make the first visit on a welfare check, make a report, and if necessary, then contact the sheriff. I don't think it's right to take away their responsibility to do welfare checks. That's one of the biggest things that they do that's important, that they do with compassion. I don't think the Sheriff's Department really wants to do that. They're out fighting crime, taking care of the people, taking care of the druggies, whatever it is. Other counties have animal control. They have backup from their Sheriff Department. There's a group in Detroit called the Karens, and they do pretty much the same thing. They go out and try to, animal control doesn't want to take people's animals.
You need to wrap it up.
They want to keep them at their homes. So the best thing they can do is give education and help to them if possible. And if you take away the welfare checks,
Wrap it up, please.
you're going to have a big problem. You have a big problem with the sheriff.
Laura Wilhelm Bruzek.
Hello, my name is Laura Wilhelm Brujak. If you remember, I spoke at the last Board of Commissioners meeting related to the Warner case and animal control. Unfortunately, I'm here to talk about that issue once again. If anyone needs a refresher, approximately 200 animals were surrendered to animal control on March 4th, roughly 100 surviving animals and 100 deceased. The commissioners decided to insert themselves into the investigation and demanded that animal control return the living animals back to the defendant and drop the forfeiture hearing, returning cruelty survivors back to their abuser, something that is never done in felony-level cruelty cases. This past Tuesday, Ms. Warner was in court for her preliminary examination, and I was in attendance. At this time, I witnessed her defense attorney, David Black, tell the judge he had already worked out a deal on the side with Commissioner Samasco, basically telling the judge he just needed her to sign off on what he had already worked out. Judge Armstrong was clearly taken back by the audacity of his statement and responded, "He doesn't speak for me," meaning Commissioner Samasco. She then threatened to raise Warner's bond and finished with, "I suggest no one speaks for me." This is a blatant overreach and abuse of power by a commissioner trying to influence an ongoing court case. I think it is important to note that David Black is a previously disbarred attorney who has a felony conviction and was sentenced to 24 months in federal prison. I don't think it's coincidence that this is also the defense attorney for the Tuttle case. In that case, another commissioner, Commissioner Rushing, inserted himself into the investigation as well. He wanted the Board of Commissioners to send a letter to the prosecutor in support of the defendants, pressuring them to drop the charges. There seems to be a theme going on here. In both of these cases, we see our elected Board of Commissioners obstructing justice and engaging in government overreach, the very thing this board is accusing animal control of doing. The situation raises serious concerns, not only about animal welfare, but about the integrity of decision-making processes within our county. From what has been stated in open court, Mr. Black admits that an agreement had been discussed and agreed upon with Commissioner Samasco regarding the return of these animals. Judge Armstrong made it clear this would not be happening in her courtroom and that decisions like these must follow proper legal channels and cannot be predetermined outside of the court's authority. That exchange alone should concern every resident in this county. These animals have been unnecessarily costing the taxpayers money since March. The animals had placement and could have been removed from the shelter weeks ago, but the Board of Commissioners decided to pressure the prosecution to cancel the forfeiture hearing. Our commissioners should have no influence over active legal cases, nor should they be engaging with defense attorneys or making promises about legal cases within this county. Commissioner Samasco surely knows better. This is about transparency, accountability, and ensuring that due process is respected. I'm asking the board to provide a clear public explanation of any involvement by commissioners in this case. Residents deserve commissioners that are making decisions appropriately, transparently, and within the bounds of the law. I have 17 seconds left, so I'd also like to say that the things that were said today about the Tuckers, I was there that day, and they are absolutely 100% false. Absolute blatant lies. Thank you.
Tanya Compton.
You guys remember me from last meeting. Sorry, my voice is hoarse. It's been a little rough lately. So my question is to you guys. Why is this even being brought up? Whose bright idea was it to, seriously, let's see a show of hands. Whose idea was it to come together and decide on this? After years of all these people who put in work to get it to where it is today, why are you guys deciding to destroy something that is working? As everybody in here has stated, it's working. You guys are the ones intervening. You guys are the ones doing it, not them. They're not doing it. Have you talked to the deputies and asked them if they wanted to do it? Have any of you actually asked the deputies who are putting their lives on the line right now for all of us? Have you asked them if they want this responsibility? Have any of you? No. So why is this being brought up? Why all of a sudden, after all the work that these people in here have put in to get it to where it is, why are you guys deciding to do this? I think we have a right to know. Because we're all sitting here asking you questions, so we're going to ask you one. Why? Why are you deciding that all of a sudden you just want to do this? What is your reasoning? I think we, the people here, have a right to know what your reasoning is. Because I should like to know. My animals reside in this county, okay? And let me tell you something. I've said it before, and I'll say it to my deathbed. I will fight for every single animal, no matter if it's mine or somebody else's, against people like you who want to literally just destroy what so many have put together to make work for these animals. And real quick, to decide for you too, why are we deciding on this? Why? I lay in bed and I look at it and I say, why? So I come here today to ask all of you, since we're all up here stating our statements to you, so my question is, why? Do you have an honest answer? Because you can use up the rest of my time if one of you would like to speak out as to why. Why are you deciding on this now? So you can use up my time, because I'll stand here for another 5 seconds before I speak again. Please. Somebody explain to all these people in here who put so much time and effort in to save animals' lives for you guys to sit up there and just make a quick judgment call. Can you please, somebody, speak up? Oh, what, somebody got your tongue? I'm sorry, cat cut your tongue? Nobody wants to speak anything? Okay. Until you all start speaking up, you are not gonna stop hearing us. And I don't care, again, I don't care if you like me or not, I don't care if anybody else likes me or not, I'm here for the animals. And you will hear my voice every time you will hear my voice. So remember this face, I don't care if you like me, you're gonna hear me.
Michael Pratt.
I'm president, St. Clair County Farm Bureau, and we do have policy on this subject, and there's state law on this subject too, so I'll read some of it here. I think you guys all got a letter of what I sent earlier, but some of our policy, a sensible approach of animal cruelty or abuse accusations, including requiring animal control officers to receive training on appropriate animal care, normal agricultural practices as it relates to livestock and farm animals, and the AID, which is Animal Industry Division of MDARD, the state veterinarian, as authority relating to farm animals, livestock, and relative care, not to local animal control, or not local animal control. Governing municipalities to be held financially and civilly liable, inaccurate, and unjustified action of those officers and departments. Required report abuse cases to follow uniform administrative procedures to conform to cruelty or abuse before any legal action is taken. Contacting the local law enforcement agency or animal control authority. Local law enforcement agencies obtaining the opinion of 2 unbiased local livestock professionals and large animal veterinarians. Costs associated with the result investigation being paid for by the accuser if no abuse is found. Cruelty or abuse cases of farm livestock is to be handled through MDARD. There's a lot more to it there, but I think everybody's opinion's been pretty well accounted for, and if you got that letter, if it's on record, unless you want me to read it into the record. So. Thank you.
Shavina Hernandez.
Thank you for letting me speak today. My name is Shavina Hernandez. I have been a very avid animal advocate since almost the very beginning, since I've been here. In 2018, Donalyn stepped down due to a lot of issues between the sheriff department. He said at that time when he stepped down to better serve the public and let the professionals handle animal control. And that is exactly what we've done. Right now, you guys are you guys should be supporting animal control. You guys say you have problems with how they're doing things. You guys, I have not seen anything from any of this board, anybody, to say, you know what, we're gonna support you. You need more training. You need more employees. You need more, if you guys feel they need more education. Our ACOs are trained by MDARD. They have to be certified by MDARD. There's something called GAMPS. It's the General Accepted Agricultural Management Practices that they are trained on during their ACO process. They cannot be an ACO without that. Now, if you would request or like them to have additional training, I could see that. If you want them to know more about farm and agricultural, since they do deal with a lot of dogs and cats in general, but to just sit there and say that you're gonna take it away from animal control for their investigative purposes, this is just absolutely absurd. We have fought, there are tons of us who have fought since 2003 to get animal control to actually where it is, and we've asked it to be better. We've asked you to support it with more funding, more information, more training to make them do their job better, to allow them to do their job better with the support of this board. But you guys want to take it away from them for their investigative purposes and give it to the sheriff department, who has a history of not having anything good to do with animals, whether it's the history back then or the history now with the dogs. So is it a repayment that you guys would like to give it to the sheriff department? And like somebody said, did you even ask them? I mean, you guys are wanting to make this huge change on this resolution 2613. You guys have to turn this down. If you want to, stand behind your animal control people who are qualified, trained, educated. If you would like them to have more qualifications, make them do so. Give them the training they need if you guys want change. Don't strip them of anything. And if you strip AC of any kind of investigative practices, then I have a guess that there's going to be some financial aid taken from AC and given to the sheriff department. Because no department does anything for free. If it's an extra step, there has to be some kind of funding in that extra step. We've seen this over the years since I've been here. So my question is why would you guys feel the need to do this? I feel sorry for the people.
Need to wrap it up, please.
Okay, I feel sorry for those who were sick, but with additional AC officers, they could reach out and actually get the help they need.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to updates. Do we have any updates from the commission?
Just one, and it has to do with this issue, and we don't read letters, but I gave every commissioner a letter. You probably got one in email too, and I did give one to the clerk to include it in the minutes for this meeting, so.
Anyone else have any updates? Hearing none, moving on to any conceptual initiatives. Seeing none, no old business, new business, Marine City courtroom renovations.
Make a motion, send it to full board.
Support.
Any questions on the renovations? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Lexipol training records, management software for Sheriff's Department.
Make a motion to send that to full board. Support.
Any questions on that one? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Axon camera system for the Sheriff's Department.
Make a motion to send that to full board. Support.
Any questions on that one? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Juvenile intervention unit day treatment, night watch, security cameras, server replacement.
Motion, send that to full board.
Support.
Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Intervention center, kitchen floor resurfacing.
A motion to send that to full board. Support.
Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Jail management system upgrade.
Motion to send that to full board.
Support.
Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution 26-13, animal control ordinance.
Make a motion, send that to full board.
Support.
We had the sheriff and the prosecutor here to speak a few words for us.
Age before beauty, Matt.
Well, hello, everybody. To be honest with you, I didn't actually think that I'd be totally connected to the resolution, but I think it's proper because I'm actually here to address everybody about a lot of rumors going around about animal control and where the sheriff's department fits into that. I don't often come to the board meetings and talk about rumors, but sometimes it's the best place to say my piece and let people either hear it or not hear it, and that's why I'm here today. So the first three lines I've got is the St. Clair County Sheriff's Department is not taking over animal control. We have no interest in taking over animal control. And the Sheriff's Department will continue to work with animal control in whatever capacity that the board decides that they're going to be doing their job, okay? In recent weeks, there's been some meetings with the prosecutor, myself, Melissa Miller, Tom Hall, and commissioners about how we're going to handle complaints, criminal complaints as pertains to the Sheriff's Department and Animal Control, right? What we do, we work things out. Law enforcement serves the public in a lot of different ways. Sometimes it's through community policing or just public service. And this includes how we handle criminal complaints with animal control. Sometimes the proper thing to do is to provide services or to give information out to people so they can seek help to better the situation. Outlets, assistance, things like that. And sometimes the proper thing to do is to get a warrant and press charges. These were all discussions that we had. All this is also true with animal control complaints when it comes to cruelty or neglect. I do want to address a couple other things. Despite recent noise, the St. Clair County Sheriff's deputies and detectives do get animal control or animal encounters and investigation training through Lexipol. Now, Lexipol is the premier policy training and risk management company in the nation. We also recently sent a detective to an animal cruelty and fighting investigation training that was suggested by our animal control. The Sheriff's Office does not have any interest in handling animals physically outside of emergencies, right? So if we were to go and do an investigation because of cruelty or neglect, and we find like this might be a situation that we need these animals collected or taken somewhere for safekeeping, we're calling animal control and they're handling that part. Our deputies are not going to be out there scooping up animals, not interested, okay? The St. Clair County Sheriff's Department wants to continue to work with animal control because they have a piece in this. Frankly, they have a lot of training we don't have. Law enforcement all the time, hopefully, are smart enough to look around and say, who's got that training, who's got that part? But law enforcement are the only ones that can request warrants and search warrants. And I think where the smoke is, or perhaps the little bit of confusion is, for a long time at the Sheriff's Office, well, not a long time, somebody said the date, 2018 or so. I was a road patrol captain when Tim Donnellan said, you know, it's time to pass on the animal control. And I said, yeah, that's fine, right? But at that point, I don't think the handoff was perfect, right? The idea was animal control, we're going to do all the investigation, do a little report. I shouldn't say a little report. I'm not trying to diminish. Do a report, give it to the deputies. The deputies are going to do the requested charge and give it to the prosecutor. And frankly, we didn't take enough ownership in the end decisions. And the shift here, in my eyes, isn't that animal control's getting kicked out, because again, we're not taking over animal control. I don't care who asked me. But for us to take more ownership in the end game of what the investigation is going to be, right? So yes, we are going to be totally handling criminal complaints as pertains to animal control. Again, we are not going to do it on an island. We get to a farm or a complaint of neglect or whatever it is, and I hope I will direct my deputies, and they'll have the training to say, I could use some more information here. I know animal control's on duty. Call them out, and they may tell us something we don't know. But at the end of the day, my deputies need to be the one doing the criminal investigation. I think that's most proper in everything else. Again, we don't want to handle animals outside of dangerous animals and traffic problems. We want to work with everybody and rely on all the information we have. So these meetings basically were to set out the delineation of who's doing what. Pretty simple. And there's been a lot of noise, and again, I hate to even quote social media, but there's been a lot of noise out there about what's going on. A young lady asked me today, did you even ask your deputies if they want to take over animal control? And all I did was point to my first 3 highlighted bullet points. The Sheriff's Office not taking over animal control. We don't want to take over animal control, and we'll work with everybody. But we do have to handle the criminal investigations, because that is legally the proper way to do it. So believe it or not, folks, this may be the one situation since I've been sheriff, there's somewhat of a happy medium, and that's a rarity. And with that, I'm going to pass the mic over to Prosecutor Wendling, because lawyers can talk better than cops.
Mike Wendling, County Prosecutor. So I've been doing this a long time now, 30 years now. These are the hardest cases to handle. animal control cases, abuse, neglect when it deals with pets or livestock or other. And this is, and you can tell by the passion in this room, these are dangerous cases. And when this issue arose, and first of all, the criminal decisions that will be made, how the Tucker case gets handled, how the new case gets handled, how all animal control cases, if they're charged misdemeanor or felony, are handled, are my decision. And that does not mean I don't take input from homeowners, other attorneys, neighbors, the sheriff, animal control, all of those people. But those decisions are made in our office. If it's a criminal complaint, whether it's a plead case, whether it's a resolution, those will all be made by the prosecutor's office. The problem that when this issue arose, what I identified as the problem is there's a blending of responsibility here that is inappropriate. Deputies are not trained to deal with livestock. They are not trained to deal with pets or diseases or veterinary science or any of those things. We have people in our county who are trained to do that. That's animal control. Same is true for animal control. They are not trained to deal with angry citizens who are very, very, very upset about their animals and their pets. They are not, animal control is not trained to deal with de-escalation of force or to deal with people about what their Fourth Amendment's rights are as it relates to signing over animals, obtaining a search warrant, obtaining an arrest warrant. We need law enforcement to do that, not just because we think that's the best practice, that's the law. And if someone's going to enforce criminal violations within this county and within this state, they have to be certified on the Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards. No one in animal control holds an MCOL's license, so they need the Sheriff's Department to do that for them. I think that those two departments historically have done a pretty good job of working together. But the other question is, what does animal control, what power does this board want to give to animal control to do their job? Do we want to be a shelter? Do we want to be a rescue? Do we want to adopt animals out? All of those things are beyond Matt King's responsibility, beyond mine. That's a decision that the county has to make, what service we're going to provide to citizens when it comes to the care and raising of animals, whether they be livestock or pets. And that, I think if everybody stays in their own lane legally, we can come to a happy medium that works, that will work for the county board, will comply with the law that Gary Fletcher has supplied to us as far as what the responsibilities and the historical law is in order to effectuate those tasks and what the criminal law allows me to do. But what's happened now, this issue has got bubbled to a point where everyone is saying things like, we're going to take animal control away from the sheriff. We're going to take the enforcement away from animal control. We're just tearing everybody apart when all these departments have to work together to make this a situation that is legal and also appropriate. So our office will continue to do our role. We will continue to answer the call when animal control wants requests for assistance. We'll answer to Matt's deputies when they're on scene and they need help. We'll write search warrants. We'll take those to court and we'll prosecute the cases that need to be prosecuted. But I think that what the board's trying to do is define what the rights and rules are and what they allow us to do as departments. And I read the new ordinance. It complies with the law. If that's what the animal control has to do, that's what we're going to have them do. Then what they're writing for under the dog law is the law. If we're going to have them do more, then we have to fund more, or we have to continue to fund more. But I think Matt and I seem to have a pretty good handle on what our part in this role is. And I've got 2 pets already, one from animal control. Thank you. I adopted. But we're going to stay in our lane, and we hope that everybody else can stay in theirs. Can I take questions? I guess that's not my purview.
You, Dave. You want to take questions?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. not going to remember all the questions. Let me start with the first question. Yeah.
From the get-go, rather than being called in, why not send a deputy and a DCO out together to the scene to animal?
Okay, so the first question I can't answer. The dog control ordinance does empower animal control to do certain things. And that's pretty clear in the ordinance. I don't think I don't know that. So that's not my area. I'm staying in my lane. I'm going to be really honest. The second question I can't answer. I am concerned about us crossing the line between animal control being a law enforcement agency. It causes me concern when they look like law enforcement, causes me concern when they act like law enforcement, and when they don't get the assistance of the sheriff's department, which the sheriff's department is available to them, and they do on most occasions do that. But when a person comes to your door that is dressed in a way that they appear to be law enforcement, has a badge, most citizens don't know the difference. And I think that's something that Sheriff King and I talked about, because when that person who you think as a citizen is law enforcement says, I want to take your animals to animal control, and you think they're law enforcement, then if that citizen thinks they're law enforcement, there are rules that have to be followed. Animal control is not trained in the administration of those rules.
Okay, I understand that, and I've also had that money in previous.
Yeah.
Then why not send out both?
We can.
Animal control and the deputy to any animal welfare.
Okay, so that's the solution we've done in the past, but there are a lot, and I'm sure that Melissa will tell you, there are a lot of animal control complaints. Stray dogs, dangerous dogs, inappropriate fencing, all kinds of things that animal control is out and doing. But I don't think we have the manpower to send a deputy out on all those complaints. So
So these things are gonna fall through the cracks then?
No, you're answering for me. Let me answer, okay? So when animal control goes out and they see a scene that looks criminal, we've instructed them to contact the sheriff's department and a deputy will be dispatched. And if it goes into an investigation, then the sheriff's department has to, by law, take on that investigation. That system does work, as long as we stay in our lane.
And isn't that what's happening right now? That was my question.
And Dave? Now you're
All right.
I understand what you're trying to say. I'm saying there's a system that works if we follow it.
And it's working, and now they want to change it.
I'm not sure everybody in this room agrees that it works all the time.
All right, Mike.
No more questions?
No more questions.
I will
Moving
stick
on.
around. I'm happy to talk to you about it.
All right.
All right.
We got to continue with the meeting. No more questions.
Mike, did the board have questions for prosecutor? Gary, did you have something?
I do. I almost don't know where to start, because there have been a lot of accusations made against Commissioner Samasco, and his involvement in this was, he called me on the phone. He'd been in a meeting with Melissa, the sheriff, dispatch, a whole bunch of people, Mr. Wendling, and the question was, who is really legally should be the lead if there are criminal investigations? I said, well, I got to believe it should be police officers, but maybe animal control under the law is qualified to do that. And Steve passed some information along that he had. He said, do you look at it independently, tell me what you think. Tell us what you think. So I did. And there are two laws in Michigan, the dog law, which Mr. Wendling mentioned, and then there's a law that pertains to shelters. And there can be the shelter like St. Clair County runs, or a shelter like the Humane Society. There are different kinds of things that do different jobs. Here's what the Attorney General said about the dog law and what animal control can do. It says, while Section 29A of the dog law of 1919 authorizes counties to establish an animal control agency limited to the provisions of the enabling legislation, there is no language in the dog law that authorizes a county to engage in activities that exceed the scope of the limited authority granted by that law as such regulations, as regulating animals other than dogs, regulating standards of care for animals and other dogs, or engaging in activities generally considered animal rescue and protection. Based upon the canons of statutory construction cited above, the legislature did not therefore grant such authority. So what we're stuck with is a 1919 dog law and one that deals with shelters. And first of all, there's nothing in this ordinance that says that the animal control, and by the way, I did a letter, which normally these are attorney-client privilege, explaining how we got to where we're at, and I asked that the board waive the privilege so everybody could understand what the rationale was behind this. And essentially what it was is we have two old, narrowly written laws that we have to operate in. And that's what this ordinance was designed to do. And number one, on welfare checks, in trying to help people that are having difficulties with animals, that are challenged because of maybe health problems, there is nothing in this ordinance that says that animal control can't continue to try to help citizens if they have difficulties, to bring resources to bear to help them. Nothing like that. What this deals with, the limitation, is exactly what Mr. Wendling and Sheriff King said. If it goes into law enforcement, then it has to be law enforcement doing it. And here's what the ordinance says. Under Article 8, it says criminal investigations. All cases concerning allegations of cruelty to animals, animal abuse, animal abandonment, lack of care, which could result in criminal charges, shall be investigated by a law enforcement officer with an appropriate law enforcement agency. But then it says, who may request the assistance of the Animal Control Department. So they can bring them in, just like Mr. Wendling said and the sheriff said. And it says, at any time an animal control officer is assisting a law enforcement agent in the investigation, they shall be at the direction of and the control of the law enforcement agency in charge. So that's what this ordinance does. It doesn't take animal control and give it to the sheriff. Frankly, from what he said, I don't think he wants it. I mean, he wants to have his people do their part and animal control to do theirs. And that brings us into compliance with the law. The other thing that we put in here is that, and I'll tell you the other thing that concerns me, is we see it in these meetings and we see it in other situations. Things have gotten really volatile out there. And you start, whoever it be, starts trying to tell people that their property may be taken, their animals may be taken, they may be seized or whatever. I think they better have body armor on and know how to do basically dealing with volatile situations like that. And I have handled cases where police officers got shot. We had a case here where a poor process server tried to deliver a piece of paper and got shot in the chest and killed. And the sheriff's deputies are trained in, number one, protection, number two, serving search warrants, seizing property, obtaining warrants while they're on site, questioning people, giving them their Miranda warnings when they're required, dealing with volatile situations, and they're the ones trained and equipped to handle that. And I think it's unfair and inappropriate for the county to ask animal control personnel who are not trained in dealing with those kinds of situations to walk into what may be a mess. But I really believe, and this ordinance says, that the sheriff's department, just like Mr. Wendling said, and the sheriff said, they can go hand in hand with animal control. And they work in hand in hand. They have in the past, and they'll continue to do so in the future. There's nothing that prohibits welfare checks. This just brings us into compliance with the law. And I don't know how to say it any differently. And the other thing I said in my letter, at least in two spots, is nothing that we've done here, nothing I've heard from anybody, from any commissioner, from anyone, has been critical of animal control. And I said in this letter, I am not in any way being critical of animal control. I had to reach out to Melissa, and she helped me with the situation, some oddball hour of the day. And, they're always helpful. I have family members. I have friends who volunteer, and they think it's a wonderful operation. So please don't consider this ordinance as criticism. It's just getting us into compliance with the law and making sure if we're going to head into what may potentially be a volatile situation, law enforcement leads it and animal control is with them to make sure that nobody gets hurt. So I
Yes,
don't.
go ahead.
What I wanted to say, David, is this. What Mr. Fletcher said is exactly true. This entire board was interested in the controversies that have been brought before the board. We're hearing from a lot of people from the different sides of this issue. Oh, still there? So this issue. I asked Gary to look at it. I've been a lawyer for 40 years. I was a prosecutor for 20 years. I'm a lawyer, but I'm not the board's lawyer. And I defer. I've told people many times, as a lawyer, when I give people advice and they don't take it, they usually regret it. I looked to Corporation Counsel. I asked Gary to look at this fresh. I had done some research that concerned me. He covered the points that I raised with him on staying within our lane and having an ordinance that will allow us to have an operation that does not exceed the law. In law school, it's called ultra vires. If you have matters that are done outside the authority of something, that's a problem. Well, the enabling legislation is very strict. There was case law on it. Mr. Fletcher's opinion, I concurred in his request to have that available. It was posted along with the ordinance. Now, all the commissioners are interested in this. Commissioner Andre had a death in the family. She couldn't be here, but I know I've spoken with her. She's been a lawyer for a long time too, again, but not the board's lawyer. All we're trying to do is to bring the operation into compliance, and people who may disagree with that, I'm sorry, but you can just disagree with that. But in my one vote as a commissioner, I don't run this. People say, oh, Samasco's out for animal control. That's not true. I'm going to vote. My vote is going to be consistent with law. It's going to be consistent with the best interests of the community, and we're going to do what we have to do and within the bounds and confines of the law. Now, I've heard what Ms. Laura Wilhelm-Bursick said. I just have to tell you that I don't know where she got her information, but whatever it's based on is false, fabricated, untrue. There was never an agreement with anyone to do anything with regard to a criminal case. I'm a licensed attorney. I couldn't do that if I wanted to, wouldn't do that. I'm a board member. I'm a citizen like you. I don't know if people, get information from Facebook and internet and whatever. To me, that's where this stuff all lives. But none of that is true. So, in my own defense, I want people to know that there was never an agreement with any attorney for anything with regard to the Tuckers or the Wanners or anyone else, and never would be. So, what I want to say is that this ordinance that was drafted, I think, does comply. I know that I sent it off to Mr. Wendling to look at. He thought it satisfied his concerns. The meeting we had on the 14th was a good meeting. There were things discussed there that ended up, working into where this ordinance is. And I'm hopeful that we can all make it work. So, I am going to support the ordinance, and I just wanted to make that statement. So thank you, David.
Anyone else? Yes, Dave.
On this, because it concerns a lot of people, but I just wanted to read from Gary Fletcher's, just paragraph 3 or section 3. Should law enforcement agencies lead criminal investigation involving animals, including poultry and or livestock, the Michigan Penal Code, Act 328 of 1931, provides for the criminalization of certain acts related to animals, MCL 750.49. These are crimes under the law, and therefore law enforcement has the authority and the expertise to collect evidence, execute warrants, bring charges, and testify in court. In fact, MCL 750.54 specifically authorizes that a search warrant shall be delivered only to any sheriff, deputy sheriff, constable, or public officer. The last sentence, while the Animal Control Department may be helpful to law enforcement with assistance in investigation related to animal abuse and neglect, etc., law enforcement agencies should take the lead when it comes to criminal investigations. I thought that was very important and brought up by Mike Wendell and also yourself.
Anyone else have anything? Go ahead.
One other thing that came up was somebody said, well, if there's a dangerous dog or a dog not on a leash or, things like that, that animal control has to deal with all the time. Are they going to have to get a sheriff's deputy? One thing we did in the ordinance is we made all of those civil infractions. So they're not criminal, and we decriminalize those, and the animal control department and the animal control officers can write tickets for those kinds of violations. So that's it. I don't want to say anything.
Anyone else have anything else? All in favor for moving it forward to full board?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Carried. Moving on to any other judiciary or public safety matters? None? Receive and file packets.
Make a motion to receive and file.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Yes.
We're starting a next meeting here. We got to. Call him because the next meeting is going.
Yeah.
Call Mr. Fletcher.
I'd like to call to order the Human Services Committee meeting. Could the clerk please take the roll?
Commissioner Angie, Commissioner Torello,
Present.
Commissioner Samasco,
Present.
Commissioner Zeller,
Present.
Commissioner Rushing,
Present.
Commissioner Vanden Bosch,
Here.
Commissioner Beeden.
Present. Are there any changes, additions, or deletions to the agenda? Hearing none, I'll accept a motion.
Make a motion.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I have citizens wishing to be heard tonight. The first one is Debbie Roberts.
Hello, I'm Deb Roberts. I'm a lifelong citizen of St. Clair County, and I'm a retired registered nurse, but I'm a Michigan nurse volunteer, so I still practice nursing. I believe we need a medical director who can effectively lead public health department through collaboration, communication, and trust building. In St. Clair County, we are conservative and hardworking, and we expect strong leadership from the medical director. This requires taking time to understand staff, the community, and the needs of the people before making major changes to long-standing programs and services that residents value, including vaccine access and trusted public health outreach. Citizens expect a thoughtful, respectful leader. Public health decisions should be guided by evidence, community needs, and collaboration, rather than any narrow viewpoint or personal agenda. An effective medical director must be willing to listen not only to residents, but to staff, healthcare professionals at both the state and local levels in order to understand differing perspectives. I have concerns about Dr. Nevin's leadership and interpersonal skills. Public health requires more than medical knowledge. It requires the ability to work constructively with employees, community partners, and the public. Interpersonal skills matter greatly. It maintains morale, retains experienced staff, and preserves public trust. I also believe visibility in the community is important. Residents should see their public health leaders participating in health fairs and community resource events. Dr. Nevin has abolished this. So I know I was at the YMCA Senior Expo, but the health department was not. Over the past 2 years, I have watched county clinics and programs be reduced and eliminated rather than improved. So I'm concerned about his communication and his ability to problem solve and collaborate. In public health, leadership should align with established medical standards and evidence-based science, such as the American Academy of Pediatrics and the American Medical Association. At the end of the COVID era, maybe the county faced challenges in recruiting for this position. However, temporary circumstances have changed and should not prevent the county now from seeking leadership that reflects professionalism, good communication skills, and public health values that our community deserves moving forward. For these reasons, I respectfully urge you not to renew Dr. Nevin's contract in any position in this county. Thank you.
Carolyn Richards. Carolyn Richards, followed by Pastor Bill Davis.
Hello, thank you. We often hear the phrase, trust the science, and science is important. It has cured diseases, transformed the modern world, but one thing history teaches us is that science is not static. It changes and evolves. It corrects itself, and sometimes what was once considered unquestionable truth is later proven wrong. Surgeons once operated without washing their hands until the germ theory and sterilization was introduced. Once again, the science changed and millions of lives were saved. There was also a time when cigarettes were endorsed by doctors and even recommended certain brands for stress relief, but later research proved smoking causes cancer, heart disease, and countless other illnesses. Even nutrition, science has shifted repeatedly. For years, Americans were told fat was the enemy. Then later, studies showed sugar and processed foods played a major role in obesity and disease. Eggs were bad, then good. Coffee was unhealthy, then beneficial in moderation. Recommendations changed because new evidence emerged. Medications like thalidomide, Vioxx, Darvocet, and even over-the-counter Zantac were once thought to be effective and safe, but are no longer on the market. History reminds us that skepticism and open debate are not enemies of science. They are essential to it. Progress happens when courageous people are willing to ask difficult questions and challenge accepted assumptions. Fluoride has been shown to compete with iodine within the body, which our body requires iodine for thyroid function. Fluoride also affects the pineal gland of the brain. It can act as a neurotoxin. Vaccines are medications that people have the right to choose whether or not to put in their bodies or their children's bodies. There has been no change in access to vaccines, only accent on personal choice. With that being said, I express support for Dr. Nevin following the changing science. As providers, to maintain licensure, education, and changing science. I, as well as many others that I have spoken with, have the utmost confidence in Dr. Nevin and believe he truly is doing what is in the best interest of St. Clair County citizens. Thank you.
Pastor Bill Davis, followed by Dr. Renee Schmidt. Oh, did Pastor doesn't want to speak?
I don't think Pastor can hear you. Yeah.
Oh. Pastor Bill?
Thank you for this opportunity to share my views regarding Dr. Nevin. And I thank each of you commissioners for your public service. It's a difficult job, I could tell, from tonight's confrontations. So thank you for your service. Keep up the good work, my friends. I'm Pastor Bill Davis from Lakeshore Church. I'm speaking in favor of releasing Dr. Nevin. From what I know, he is opposed to mandatory vaccinations. It's one thing for us to make a decision about wearing a helmet when we ride a bike or ride a motorcycle. If we get into an accident and we become disabled, the decision we make, and we must live with the results of that decision, which scientifically was a dumb decision. We should have worn a helmet. But when it comes to vaccinations, it's a question of a decision that affects our children. I do not have a right, as I see it morally, to say to my child, you cannot have the polio vaccination, because she or he could end up with polio and be disabled for the rest of her life, his or her life. I don't have the right to tell a community you cannot give rubella vaccination, which prevents German measles. A woman in the first 10 weeks of pregnancy, if she gets German measles, that child will probably be deformed, perhaps mentally disabled, no arms, can be terrible. I do not have the right to put that on my child or any other child. I think we as commissioners, as citizens, need to do what we can to protect all children. Even if the parents are less informed of the science. The science is clear. Vaccinations have saved lives and will save lives. And I think morally, we have the responsibility to do our best to see that all children are vaccinated and that the results of disease that can be vaccinated against do not attack any of the children in our community. So thank you for the opportunity to share. And again, thank you for your service.
Dr. Renee Smith, followed by Tracy Burgee. Dr. Smith, followed by Tracy Burgee.
Thank you, Commissioners, again for the opportunity to discuss these issues with you. As you know from my last time I was here, I strongly oppose Dr. Nevin's reappointment. Since last time, several things have happened. One, at the VWIP, which is the immunization community, which I'm a part of, supporting that, there were several presentations that were, I think, were almost shocking to me. Statistics from McLaren, which are publicly known, that as little as, put it this way, in some peripheral school districts, there are 30% of the children that have had no vaccinations. And Pastor Bill already addressed the risks of this. In looking at this, my concern is that Dr. Nevin is indeed against. He makes it very, well, by going on the internet, he's made it very easy for parents not to have to have their children vaccinated. I think it's a mistake. His personal behavior and the comments that he's made, I think also, as has been alluded already, I think truly make him difficult to support. In a SC4 meeting, which I've seen the tape of, Dr. Nevin calls my colleagues in Lansing degenerate, and later in the same breath calls them a radical group. And looking at his credentials, no question he was very well trained in terms of schooling, but actually this is the first time that he's really practiced in the community in this type of role. Previously, he was trained in the military medical school, which has outstanding no, at least he was trained in Toronto. Subsequently, for his undergrad, he went to Walter Reed and its associated medical school, very well reputed. The problem is he's in his later time, the service which he had to give back to the system, he had very little to do with the practicalities. And I think the things that you've already heard from the nurses, he just simply does not represent what I consider mainstream thought of public health. And I think...
You need to wrap it up, please.
Yeah, and again, just simply, I think his history here should negate his reappointment. Thank you.
Tracy Burgee, followed by Sherry Mercurio.
Hello, Board. My name is Tracy Berge. I'm from Marysville, Michigan. I come here in complete support of our doctor. You know, I listen and I get it that we are opposing views. And then I have people, I listen, I try to listen to both sides and I hear them say, oh, but, you know, maybe we're misunderstood. And I have to agree that I think the science continues to change over and over. But you know what? When I know that people show us who they are, I have to believe them. So I found this online, and I thought it would be interesting. If I could find this, anyone else could find it. So I'm just going to play you this. It's a 30-second excerpt, okay? Oops, hold on. Oops, sound. I can get the sound. Shoot, I'm sorry. Hold on, let me pull it here. I'm so sorry. Anyway, so I found this excerpt, and it was put out here it is. Let me see if I can pull it up. I'm so sorry. I was so prepared. Here it
Extremely
is.
valuable source of data. We've been able to isolate reports based on particular risk questions or topics, and then we use that data for reporting to our grantors. Specifically, we've used the sexual health questionnaire for an ongoing CQI project that we have through MDHHS. And that reporting feature has been really helpful to us in gathering the information that we need.
That was one of the nurses that comes from the health department here in St. Clair County. And what she does is she's telling us that she believes in all of the questioning that they ask for, that they had at the Teen Health Center. And when I found that absolutely disgusting, that we can push that out, and we think that that is great. And I have to tell you that I am a parent of 2 daughters that I have loved and nurtured, and I spend lots of time with them. I get it that people might have different views about what they want, but I'm telling you that as a parent, I do not parent with my government. It is not the job of the health department to decide what kind of garbage they can put in front of my kids when I'm not there. And as they become adults, I hope that they will be tigers for their mom or for their children. I hope they will be that mama bear just like I have shown them. But we cannot allow people to not be at all reined in, and we need to watch what's happening. And that is what's happening. And Liz King says she didn't know that that was there, but yet this is her nurse that's online telling about this questionnaire, that it was totally okay. So my thought to you is, I don't believe. Either you didn't know, but that's not true, because that is her staff. And so that means I can't believe. So I'm in here and just incomplete. Thank you.
Sherry Mercurio, followed by Diane Hewlett.
I'm going to read you a memo. It's to the Board of Commissioners from the Hotline Review Committee. Date is December 2nd, 2024, regarding Dr. Remington Nevin. The county established an anonymous hotline in 2011 to encourage employees to report concerns about fraud, ethics, or compliance issues without fear of retaliation. An internal committee comprised of the administrator/controller, prosecutor, and county clerk was formed to review and investigate these reports. Historically, the committee has successfully resolved issues by working directly with the necessary individuals involved. However, the committee has received multiple reports concerning Dr. Remington Nevin. In addition to the reports received, Human Resources has also received complaints from employees regarding Dr. Nevin as well. Due to the recent actions by the Board of Commissioners regarding Dr. Nevin's employment contract, the committee believes that it cannot effectively address these concerns through direct communication with the necessary individuals. The reports received, along with the HR interviews, are all consistent and cite similar concerns of a toxic and/or threatening work environment. Inquiries have also been received from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services regarding his directives to staff. Attached, you will find all of the reports, employee statements, his performance evaluation, notes from supervisor, and communications from MDHHS, along with his refusal to respond as directed by his supervisor. All employee concerns deserve to be addressed and investigated. The committee feels that an adequate response cannot be provided due to the circumstance created by board action. It is our responsibility to provide a safe and respectful work environment for all employees. We urge the board to review the attached data, conduct a thorough and impartial investigation, and take appropriate action to address the concerns brought forward. The following is the summary at the end of the HR investigative report titled Regarding Dr. Nevin and Hostile Work Environment, dated 11/26/2024. Quote, overall, when reducing these concerns to paper, they appear to be unreasonable. After speaking at length with staff, the constant bombardment of demeaning and condescending behavior, the arrogant presentation of himself to colleagues for state and county government, the disregard of the safety of staff and patients, and the disdain and prejudice towards the community he was hired to serve is untenable long-term. State and local community partners are questioning our choice of medical director, and as a result, various partners have discontinued providing or working with the St. Clair County Public Health. Has this board been forthcoming with this information as they have told the public that the way to fix the problems at the health department is to remove supervision over Dr. Nevin? You've told us the issue is that Dr. Nevin does not have enough power. Knowing about all of this, you expect anyone to believe that you haven't usurped the health officer's position for yourselves. Is this board the de facto health officer of this county? It could appear to a reasonable person that you have been steering Dr. Nevin where you want him to go since September 2024.
Diane Hewlett, followed by Dawn Davy.
Hi, I'm Diane Hewlett from Riley. I am here to give my full support to Dr. Nevin. I am shocked at the amount of people that do not know him or have never talked to him. They are spreading misinformation about him. If you spend any kind of time with him, you will realize that he will explain every single point in extreme detail. And I agree with why he is bringing the group into compliance with regarding the clinics. That became a whole huge issue. But if you realize that we were out of compliance by doing that, you would understand that why he insisted on such. From my understanding, it is the EPA has been mandated to remove fluoride from our water system. I totally agree with that. There are so many problems created for the fluoride, whether you want to call it the pineal gland, the pineal, whatever. It is causing problems. And I have a real problem with mandatory vaccines. If you want to take them, fine. I do not believe that anyone has the right to tell us to do. I do not remember government staying up late at night when my kids were sick. I do not comply with co-grandparenting of my current two grandkids. And I agree with him again on the fluoride. God provides us with, I believe it's 0.05. Why do we feel the need to add to it? I don't believe we do. I think it's causing many issues with many people. Okay, thank you for letting me talk.
Dawn Davy, followed by Kathy Swantek.
Good evening. I'm going to be very careful. Since there's been a lot of talk about Dr. Nevin, I guess I'm going to start at the bottom of what I had to say. This is regarding the CSCB, which for the life of I cannot understand why this is an issue. So I'm going to start with, this was brought up during an advisory Board of Health meeting, and Dr. Nevin had stated that they were usurping his power as medical director. To that I will say, the CSCB does not advise the health director on medical matters. This organization does not focus on medical matters in the county. This is not a shadow county government. They do not
direct the allocation of taxpayer resources, and Dr. Nevin doesn't have either the power or the authority to question if the CSCB should exist. In my personal opinion, I believe he needs to stay in his lane. Primary goal, you're all aware, I gave each of you a little packet on the CSCB and the other counties and what they do with their human service organizations. And the one thing I want to stress, first of all, there are 15 county agencies within that 74-member organization, 15. Now, I see that on what you have this evening is $5,000 per year for those 15 departments, which is roughly $350 annually. I'm a board member for the ARC of St. Clair County. We have 3 full-time staff members. We pay $250 a year. Why? Because this organization is important for our existence. It is important for us to be able to collaborate with these organizations to, if there are grants out there, we need, and you should know, in order to write a grant and have a hell's chance in getting any funding, you're going to need letters of support to submit with those grant applications. That's what one of the things that the CSCB does. Why this is an issue, I have no idea. The grilling of Deb Johnson, Commissioner Rushing, was uncalled for. You are an alternate to the CSCB. What went on should not have happened, and I would ask you to remove yourself from the Advisory Board of Health. Look, Dave, I did it. My time isn't up. I did it. Thank you.
Kathy Swantek, followed by Vicki Blackburn.
Good evening, Commissioners. I am a St. Clair County resident, and I am a constituent in District 5. I am asking you to vote in favor of continuing the county's membership in the Community Services Coordinating Body, which Dawn just spoke about. This group of over 70 nonprofits, local governmental entities, businesses, and individuals committed to strengthening our human services network has only benefited our community. Membership in this organization is an investment in our community. The contribution of $7,500 is less than 0.01% of the total county budget and is worth every dollar. As the chairperson of the Housing and Support Services Work Group, which addresses issues of housing families experiencing or at risk of experiencing homelessness, and is one of the initiatives under the CSCB umbrella, we are able to bring in over $200,000 of grant funding every year to house those families and individuals. Please carefully consider your vote on this matter and how it affects those you serve in the capacity of commissioner. Additionally, I am speaking on behalf of Blue Water Indivisible, an organization to which many attendees come to your meetings and belong. Many members have articulated their concern regarding the issues surrounding the Advisory Board of Health. Most recently, their concerns have focused on the actions of Commissioner Rushing, who clearly is influenced by the whims of Dr. Nevin. Because of this concern, Blue Water Indivisible recently conducted a survey of our leadership team as to whether Commissioner Rushing should be removed as Commissioner Liaison to the Advisory Board of Health. The result was yes, that they would prefer that to happen. Given that an ask should also come with a solution, we also ask that Commissioner Beeden, who, as you know, chairs the Health and Human Services Committee, be an acceptable replacement for Commissioner Rushing. we respectfully ask that you, Commissioner Samasco, remove Commissioner Russing as current liaison between the Board of Commissioners and St. Clair County Advisory Board of Health and reappoint Lisa Beeden. In doing so, perhaps you will move a little bit closer to taking the advisory board and thereby our health department a little closer to the correct side of history. Thank you for your attention.
Vicki Blackburn.
Excuse me for taking a moment. It's important that we get this right. We don't have it right. What's going on here? I go to a ton of meetings. I've been coming to this meeting twice a month for years, and reading the board packet for years. I see that there's a problem that Mr. Felix, Commissioner Felix alerted us to that's still ongoing, the lack of transparency. I did want to get back to what I suggested at the last meeting, and I felt bad because I ran out of time, frankly, but I want to say, Commissioner Rushing, with respect, coming to these meetings all this time, I've watched you talk about the solar, I've watched you talk about the landfill, and man, I'll defer to you any day of the week on that, because I'd sit there and I didn't know what you're talking about, but I trusted you and Mr. Samasco and Mr. Felix and the rest of the commissioners to do their due diligence on that, so I didn't have to worry about it. I look at the things where I see racism, misogyny, sexism, lack of transparency. Those are the things that pique my interest when I look through the board packet, and it's not to find fault. It's because it's such a huge job that you all have, and I can't imagine. I look at those contracts that you have to sign and approve, it's a lot. So I would thoughtfully and respectfully suggest that Mr. Rushing, with, like I said, sincere respect, I can see how you wouldn't have the time to really look into CSCB. After I thought about it, I thought, why should you have to know about that, right? It's a lot, 74 organizations and so many people involved and all of that. So what if everybody had a committee where they were having a committee around their expertise? And so I would offer that perhaps your expertise is with the solar and the landfill, and perhaps Dr. Nevin's expertise is with litigation and with the solar. And that's good. You know, use people's strengths. You know, I'm looking at ways we can build bridges, and I don't think we're talking about the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is that there are people in this room that have signed loyalty pledges to our current administration nationally. And I can't do anything about what's going on nationally, but I've heard some, I'll say lies, not misinformation, lies at the podium tonight. And that would be addressed personally one-on-one. But I want to say that maybe we could use the model that CSCB has, and when you have your different committees, what if you had a group of citizens that signed on to your committee so there could be active de-escalation from the get-go? Because otherwise, this is what happens. Everybody's mad. We're thinking that things are going on that may or may not be.
You need to wrap it up. You've already gotten 20 seconds over.
Oh, I
You
didn't, I
start-
wasn't
He
watching.
never started the clock.
I wasn't watching the clock, I apologize. But anyway, it's with good intention. I'm here to build bridges. I don't have the answers, but by God, we can do better than this. Step up or step out, whatever the case is. Step into where you're great.
Moving on to item 4, 4A, the MSU Extension 2025 County Annual Report Presentation.
all receive one of these in your packet? I know I was a little late getting them to Chris.
It was after the fact.
Okay. Sorry about that. These are hot off the press. So thanks for giving me an opportunity to share with you some highlights of our programming and outreach from last year here in St. Clair County. Obviously, this is the first time you're seeing it, but as you'll see in my message on the front page there, we lost our SNAP Ed grant last year after 30 years in Michigan. So due to federal funding cuts. And so our community nutrition instructors who programmed and did that work in the community, their positions were eliminated at the end of September. And so their programming year was cut short. It was January to August. They had to stop programming in August. So just to kind of put some context to some of these outreach numbers, we're going to see some pretty drastic cuts in those, and that's across the whole state. That's not just in St. Clair County. So just to kind of put a little bit of context to the outreach numbers and impact. So at the bottom of the first page there, it gives you some data points of our impact here locally last year. So 5,520 St. Clair County residents attended 548 programs, which includes those held here in the county, as well as maybe online or other areas around the state, which it's interesting. So like I was saying, it's less participants than last year, but more programs. So it's just kind of an interesting shift that we saw there from last year. 4,259 participants attended 126 programs physically held here in St. Clair County, which includes those who reside in other counties and come here for those programs. There were 666 youth enrolled in the 4-H program last year, which is almost exactly what we saw the previous year. We had a total of 333 volunteers serving St. Clair County, most of those being in the 4-H program, but others in Extension Master Gardeners, for example. And I just want to note that St. Clair County has one of the top, if not the top, volunteer bases for 4-H in the state. So we have a really strong volunteer base for the 4-H program. Nearly 5,000 youth were reached by the 4-H program. Not all of those were enrolled in 4-H, but they were reached with that programming. So the hope is later down the road that they will enroll in the program for a richer experience. Our health educators cover a regional area, so the Thumb area. And their programming focuses a lot on stress management, mental health, falls prevention, chronic disease prevention and management, those types of things. They have a lot of success with virtual programming. They, of course, have programs in person throughout the Thumb as well and beyond. But Tai Chi continues to be a super popular program that focuses on kind of slow movements for falls prevention and balance issues for older adults. Which is pretty impressive considering it's an 18-session series. So they typically meet twice a week for 9 weeks, and they're always full, most of them, and they have a waiting list in a lot of cases. Our food safety educator who covers St. Clair County, Lori Messing, she had a table at Food Safety Day at the Port Huron Farmers Market last year. She distributed a lot of resources at that event, and you can see a little bit more about that. A total of 250 residents were reached through direct food safety education last year, which included programs like the Cottage Food Law and Preserving Michigan Harvest, which is a food preservation program. Andy Northrup partnered with the city of Marine City again. So about 6 or 7 years ago, he partnered with them to do a FIT assessment, First Impressions Tourism Assessment. So this was kind of a follow-up to that. They created, as you'll see, this little QR code and placed that around the city to kind of follow up. They made some changes based on their work about 7 years ago. And so this was kind of a follow-up to see, gather more feedback in that respect. For our 4-H program, as you know, Lori Warchuk, who coordinated the 4-H program in St. Clair County, retired after about 26 years. And so I'm happy to share that we have a new person stepping into that role. Colleen Provost is the new 4-H program coordinator. After I'm finished, I'm going to ask her to come up and just give a very brief introduction of herself. So we still have Val Fusey, though, as a program instructor who helps reach a lot of youth in the county with programming throughout the year. So as you'll see here, this talks about 4-H Science Night at KPAC Elementary. That's always a highlight of the year for both volunteers as well as the students in that school. So last year, 89 students attended that program, and there were nine stations, and they were all covering different aspects of STEM. So it was a science-based night. Our community nutrition instructors were able to have some great programs last year in the 9 months that they served the county. Jennifer Evenson taught in every classroom at East Shore Leadership Academy again, and this was last year was her 8th year doing that, so she built a really great relationship with them and reached over 150 students through her work there. In addition, Carol Bublitz partnered with Port Huron Head Start and taught a 6-week series in each of the 11 classrooms there and reached a total of 275 students, preschoolers. So last year, they reached a total of 1,336 youth and adults with their nutrition programs. Our beef feedlot systems educator teamed up with 4-H last year to facilitate a couple of programs. So almost 50 youth and adults attended a program on different husbandry, nutrition aspects of raising beef cattle for the purpose of a fair project. In addition, there was another educational event that focused on beef grading, regulatory meat inspection, and breaking down a carcass. And almost 40 youth and adults attended that event as well. In addition, Erica Kleitz with the Michigan Sea Grant attended the Sturgeon Festival last year, and she reached about 300 people at her table and had different educational programming and resources there as well. So before I ask Colleen to come up, does anybody have any questions with our outreach and programming from last year?
Any questions from commissioners? I appreciate the update. It's always great to see what's happening in the county the previous year. I know that MSU they have a phenomenal program, and our residents are fortunate to be able to participate in it, whether it's in person or online. I think it's a great thing that we offer to our residents.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Hi, my name is Colleen Provost. I was born and raised in St. Clair County. I'm 4th generation 4-H'er in my family. I've been a leader since I was old enough to be one. I was horse superintendent for the fair for 10 years before I joined the St. Clair County Agricultural Society, and I've been a director for 8 years with them. In the last 3 years, I've been a co-treasurer. So this is a complete honor getting this job. 4-H in St. Clair County and all their partners, they've been my family my whole life. So I'm really excited to keep it, honestly, the best program. So #1 in the state is my opinion. Thank you.
Congratulations on your new role. Congratulations on your new role. We're excited that you're here and will continue the 4-H tradition in our county. So thank you for that. Moving on to updates, item 4B, the health officer, medical director contracts.
Thank you, Commissioner Beeden. Just want to provide a quick update to the board. I'm still working on contracts, currently ready to have them reviewed by legal, but have had discussions with, both our health officer and our medical director, kind of regarding options. So just wanted to let you know it continues to be worked on. I anticipate something as an actionable item for the June committee meeting.
Are you working on both contracts, Tom?
Yeah, so as described, or as directed by the board, working on the separation of the health officer and the medical director, and then the medical health officer. That was the direction that I received from the board at a previous meeting.
You're also looking at the job descriptions and...
Correct, yeah, those are all things that when I prepare to send everything over to Corporation Counsel, it becomes reviewed kind of as that package.
You had meetings with both the health officer, medical director, and Corporation Counsel on all of this?
Yep, I've talked to Corporation Counsel, and I did meet with Liz King and Dr. Nevin regarding kind of what they envision, how can we make, either scenario work.
How's that going?
It was good. Yep, no, I feel like, we had productive conversations, continue to look at, the options for how to meet the expectations within the health department as set forth by our constituents.
And they're both collaborating and partnering and helping you get that done?
Yeah, no, it was a great conversation.
Good.
I think, we'll have something comprehensive to the board.
Very encouraging.
One way or another.
Moving on, there are no conceptual initiatives, no old business. We'll move on to 7, new business. Item A, the Community Services Coordinating Body. In your packets, there was the MOU and the invoice, so to speak. My understanding is that the $5,000 was paid for 2025 and that it is the $7,500 that has not been paid for this year. That's what we're discussing.
Correct, yeah. So obviously, the board has had multiple presentations on the Community Services Coordinating Body. That is correct. Last year, 2025, it was a $5,000 fee for membership that has increased this year to $7,500. With the presentations, I feel like it's an appropriate opportunity for the board to vote on the continuation, or the discontinuation of the Community Services Coordinating Body.
Commissioner Rushing?
Yes, I did talk to Mr. Fletcher, and if you look at the memorandum it's on our agenda tonight. On item number 10, it says Open Meetings and Freedom of Information Act. Approximately 15 years ago, Lansing made the decision that this was not to be a government entity, and I believe by being a government entity, regardless of the amount of money that we give them, and CSCB might do some fantastic things. But he said that he'd look into it and get its legal opinion on if the CSCB board has to be compliant with the Open Meetings Act. That's one of the concerns I had, so he said he'd get back with me on that.
So we'll expect that at the next meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Smasko?
I got a letter from Karen Pelka. I'm not sure if everyone got it. It's addressed to me, Commissioner Smasko, but it's a letter from in support of CSCB and giving information about all the things they do. I just wanted to make a part of the record. Did everyone get that? It came in May 6th. Did everyone get that?
Yes.
We all have that, okay. Just asking to make that part of the record. That was a communication to the board. And then the other thing I had was when Deb Johnson came in, I don't know, a month ago and talked about CSCB, I'd asked her about, why wouldn't we just, give the money to CMH and that, rather than be charged for a membership in CSCB. So my only thing is, I would support the payment, but I would rather see, Deb's answer was, well, we haven't had a increase in the contribution to CMH for like years and years. I said, well, just increase the contribution to CMH by $7,500. Because to me, that is a kind of a function of that community mental health. It's housed by them, financed as a fiduciary through them. I would, rather than just be billed for it, I think it's better to do it that way. That's just a personal.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing with that is it's a separate entity. So it's not like CMH is taking in all of the membership.
But don't they hold all the money? I mean, I get that. But
They're the fiduciary, yes.
Yeah, it's all over there. It's just like.
But any member could request to be the fiduciary and move it. So if the county wanted to renew their membership and be the fiduciary, I'm sure that CMH would give up that $72,000 that they have to maintain an audit and pay the staff to someone else. So they're just acting as a fiduciary.
No, I get that. I just thought that, to me, it's on Dave's question of, what he's asked me about, are they subject to OMA? There had been some recent developments, some of the law regarding the Open Meetings Act. When a body functions, does functions like a government function, especially when so closely associated to a public body, which CMH is, I think there's an issue there. It may be debatable whether or not where that fine line is drawn.
Yeah.
But I would err on the side of accountability and transparency, that it should be subject to it. And that's kind of how I view that is, Deb Johnson's the director of it, and they manage it kind of through that. And,
Well, she's elected, so again, if someone wanted to take the position.
Nothing nefarious here. I'm just saying the way I
Yeah.
think, good or bad.
And I can't recall off the top of my head a meeting agenda, but I know I'm part of other committees that are open to the public to come. Now, whether the public does or not, it's on them. I think that they're probably open to the public already, and just citizens don't attend. Thank you.
That's my only point.
So they are open. They are held 4 times a year. The next one is May 27th.
So do we need to move this to full board, Tom? Is that what we need to do? Or?
Yeah, so previously in 2025, I mean, this also hit your agenda regarding the payment of the invoice. Kind of with the questions, the concerns, I feel like it's appropriate to move it to full board for payment. Obviously, it's something that's under $10,000. I have the authority to submit payment, but I feel like it's something that has gotten a lot of attention.
I actually appreciate you putting that out to us to look at. So
Absolutely.
I would move that to full board. I don't know.
Support.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I just want to pose that.
Okay, I just couldn't hear you, you weren't in the microphone. Moving on to 7B, the Comprehensive Organizational Assessment and Staffing Plan for the Raymond Robson. Is there a motion to move that to full board?
Make a motion to send to full board.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. There are no other human services matters this evening, no other information. I'll accept a motion to receive and file packets.
So moved.
Support. All in favor?
Aye. Motion to adjourn.
Any
Second.
support?
Support.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. It's getting up, 5 miles.
Oh, Lisa, before you move on, I just wanted to mention that Carrie Angie's mother had passed away, and she was interested in that CSCB appointment we took care of, and that was done with, everyone's consent, so I just want to make a record of that.
Okay. I don't know if the audience did hear that. I know there was some questions. Carrie Angie isn't here tonight, but Commissioner Samasco did have Carrie Angie come in as the new alternate to the CSCB. So that change has been made because of Commissioner Samasco. Good? Good. All right, at this time, I'd like to call the St. Clair County Board of Commissioners Environmental and Public Works Committee meeting to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Angie, Commissioner Beeden,
Present.
Commissioner Samasco,
Present.
Commissioner Zettler,
Present.
Commissioner Rushing,
Here.
Commissioner Vandenbach.
Here.
Commissioner Torello.
Present. Any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda? If not, can I get a motion to receive?
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I have no citizens wishing to be heard. Are there any updates from the board tonight? Seeing none, we have a conceptual initiative for the landfill.
Thank you, Commissioner Torello. As an ongoing conceptual initiative for the Environmental Public Works Committee is the landfill supplemental environmental plan. Just wanted to update the board. After consideration, and obviously with your approval, you want to look at leaning a little bit more heavily towards a vegetative buffer as part of that SEP program. We explored some options. We explored an environmental management program that would help, kind of hold our data, make it available. There's concerns regarding legacy costs with any software as we maintain that. We look at other options as it pertains, to that specifically. The difficulty that we faced is that we've got $108,000 So looking at how this makes an impact to the community, while also, being aware of, we don't want to considerably overshoot something to avoid the $108,000 payment that would be sent to Eagle. So, the proposal that I would like to bring and get support here from the board is moving forward with that vegetative buffer. And what that would look like is providing kind of a tree line to reduce debris, reduce, fugitive dust, gas odors, and different things towards the citizens of Smiths Creek. It feels like an easy answer. I did have a communication just with Eagle to determine, hey, is this a great idea? Is this going to work? Tentatively, they said, yeah, this sounds like it would be, appropriate. So, working to get that formatted in that official draft to be sent over to Eagle for, kind of their support, but want it supported here first.
Sure, Steve.
I would, in my position, I would tend to defer to Kimball Township because it's in their backyard, and of course, the commissioner from that district. But I'm also would want a one-and-done kind of a thing, nothing with legacy costs. I know we talked about that. So, Tom, are you making a recommendation on the vegetative buffer, or is, and council, what's the drop dead date on having that? I know it's coming up in June or July.
I think it's the end of June.
Okay. Yeah. So we need to move on that.
Yeah, we'll have it prepared. Like I said, I just want to make sure that the board generally supports this. Like I said, it's something that's easily attainable. It's something that helps support the citizens.
So you're recommending the vegetative buffer as opposed to the other thing?
Yes, I would recommend the vegetative buffer.
That's going to come do we need to move that to full board for a vote now?
Commissioner, Corporation Counsel, do you have a?
No, I think that he just needs a consensus that you're behind this, because it could take work to put it together.
Yeah, and we're already moving in that direction. We just have to put it within the format that's described by Eagle, and then have them successfully kind of adopt that.
This is like America's Got Talent. I'm a yes.
Okay.
Shall I ask the rest of you? Are
Sounds
we all
good.
in favor for that?
I don't want
Yep.
Steve to say.
Yes. All right.
I will add, sorry, Commissioner Torello, that we are going to reserve, the proposal will reserve some funding to ensure that any trees that don't live through the first year will have the opportunity to be replanted for the second year. So kind of covering the basis to make sure that, that investment is well worth it.
Good, thank you. I have no old business. Moving on to new business. Item 7A, landfill gas collection and control system Phase 11 expansion with the Ryan Incorporated Central.
Make motion to send to full board.
Second.
Support. Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item B, SEMCOG Planning Assistance Grant Application for the Trails Plan.
Make a motion to send that to full board.
Support.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item C, Friends of the St. Clair River 2627 Stewardship Services Agreement.
Make a motion to send that to full board.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. So item 8 is for the Smith Creek landfill activities report for January. Can I get a motion to accept it?
Support, make a motion.
Thank you.
Support.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Any other environmental concerns this evening, matters? None. Information only for the material management planning.
Make a motion to receive and file.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, number 11, receive and file packets.
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
No hammer today, Paul. You got to walk for it.
It's going to be a long meeting.
All right, at this time, I call to order the Community and Economic Development Subcommittee. Can I have a roll call?
Commissioner Angie, Commissioner Beeden,
Present.
Commissioner Torello,
Present.
Commissioner Samasco.
Present.
Commissioner Rushing.
Here.
Commissioner Vandenbach.
Here.
Commissioner Zeller.
Present. Are there any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda?
Make a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Support.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. I have no citizens to be heard. I don't know if I'm formally supposed to do the updates. Can I skip that one, or do I just?
There's nothing there. You can
There's
skip.
nothing there. I'm skipping updates. But we do have a conceptual initiative to discuss. So we have community and economic development involvement. Since we haven't done anything with the resources for community economic development, I would like to consider, and I would just want to know from the board's perspective if I'm heading down a dead-end road or not, but I would like to consider soliciting feedback and input from municipalities on specifically what the question being, what is the county's role in community and economic development? I've heard a lot of different opinions and some really good ideas in the time that I've stepped onto the board. I would like to just have municipality feedback on what is wisest and best. And so if the board is open to that, what I'd like to do is have Thomas and potentially the Planning Commission and potentially SEMCOG, we've engaged David Struck for an initial conversation, help with setting up workshops throughout the county, probably 3 of them, just different centralized locations, so that community leaders would have the opportunity to provide some input and feedback on what the county would like to do as a whole for community economic development. So before I start going down a dead-end road, I just wanted to throw that out on the field as an idea. Any questions?
I'm 100%, you and I talked about it, and I'm 100% on board. Let's get this going.
Yeah.
Now, Paul, I trust you sent the conceptual initiative you sent to me to everyone. Did everyone get that or no?
So I've had verbals with everyone individually.
What did you send me to look at? You sent me a copy of it was in writing.
That was a draft a long time ago, yeah.
Okay, well, that was, I very much liked it. It was broken into 3 regions. You named them east, west, whatever it was.
Yep.
And with the idea that people could then participate regionally and then focus with you as committee chair on community economic development to bring forward what we're going to do. The board no longer participates funding the EDA. We still want to work with the EDA. The funding is still there. I've always wanted to maintain that funding so it would be dedicated to some type of economic development. I know we haven't used it yet, and I'm glad that, you're looking at that. I think it's a good idea. I'm excited actually that, we're going to do something. We had lots of discussions about different MSU connections, other consultants, reforming a planning commission, with the leaving of Ms. Wallace and all that, and there's a lot of things we're talking about, but it's nice to know if we can actually start doing something. And then, of course, the community involvement piece, I think, is really important because that'll then let us make sure that we're actually serving the public that we serve. So, thank you, Vicki. I appreciate that.
Any other comments?
Somebody likes you.
I got applause. You didn't, Dave. Come on.
Actually, it's my subcommittee right now, so I'm taking that.
All right, there you go.
Any other comments or questions?
At any point, I like that we're starting with the municipalities first. I think breaking it up into 3 makes sense, and we won't be in any sort of violation of Open Meetings Act, because I'm sure we won't all be at all 3 of them. But at any point, are we going to bring in the public for public input?
So my initial thought is that we solicit the feedback and input from community leaders, and then I think we present it publicly at a board meeting, at this board meeting. Mm-hmm. So if we go through multiple workshops, you're going to get a lot of feedback and input. There's going to be some overlap in responses. There'll be duplicates, so on and so forth. We take the time to look at that, probably SEMCOG, curating that a little bit. I don't want to have my hands on it so that there's no accusations anywhere, right? But I think we curate that a little bit, and I think we present it right here for public comment. Yeah.
Say something. Just you bring up the question of how many commissioners could be there. I wouldn't want to walk anybody into a mess, but it could be more than 3, but you can't be talking back and forth with local communities about what we should do, because then that would occur here. So to be safe, I recommend it be 3 or less.
I think it's great. I think it's a great start. I mean, if we do nothing, our result is nothing.
Correct.
So-
I don't know what happens at this point, Gary.
You move on to old business, right?
You're gonna,
You have support.
Okay, nobody shot it down. Away we go. I do not have anything on old business, new business, or information only. Do I have to make a motion to receive and file packets? for
Make a motion to
conception-
receive and file packets.
For conception. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
so moved?
Support.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Adjourned.
Call to order the meeting of the St. Clair County Ways and Means Committee for May 7th, 2026. Doing this because Commissioner Angie's the committee chair, but she is absent today, so I'll handle that. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Angie, Commissioner Beeden,
Present?
Commissioner Torello,
Present.
Commissioner Zeller,
Present.
Commissioner Rushing,
Here.
Commissioner Vanden Bosch.
Here.
Commissioner Smasko.
Here. Item 2, additions, deletions. We have a motion, please, to remove the agreement for collection of property taxes, please.
So moved.
Support?
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I, too, have no citizens to be heard on this agenda, no updates, no conception initiatives, no old business. I'll move down to item 7A, a 2026 general fund budget amendment. Can we have a motion on that?
Motion to send to the full board.
Support?
Motion and support. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 7A carries. B, please, motion.
Make a motion to send 7B, Resolution 26-12, opposing state preemption of local zoning authority to the full board.
Support.
Motion and second. Discussion.
Just a little bit. This was, I did ask Tom to put this on the agenda. This has to do with tiny housing, for lack of a better term, and takes away the zoning control of any municipality. And for Riley Township, I serve on the planning commission there, that we have a plat. And the Supreme Court has made a lot of rulings in regards to plats, but this is going to allow housing up to 1,500 square feet and smaller. And also remove setbacks that all the communities have already had. So like in Riley, you have a 25-foot setback, so you can't put a garage or a barn without a variance. But any setbacks you may have, this will take that away from every one of the 31 municipalities within St. Clair County. And what I was asking that this gets, hopefully it gets approved at the full board, then forward it to the state to let them know our position on it. I don't think we should take in local zoning. Very short version.
Thank you, David. Any other discussion? We have a motion, second, and discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item C, please, 7C, motion.
Make a motion to send that to full board.
Support.
Motion and support, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now the highlight of the evening, 7D.
Make a motion to send that to full board?
Support.
Any discussion?
I definitely support it, so let's get this done.
This was, Tom Hull is our administrator under a temporary agreement for 6 months. There was some discussion, a couple of commissioners over the last month or so about moving it to full board for his permanent position, permanent contract. You know, he is doing this without the second person in place, so there's a gap there, and we're busy enough that I really think it's time to do that as well. So we have a motion, we have support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. D carries. Item 7E, please, motion.
That's
Oh, no,
the one we
removed that,
removed.
did we?
Yeah, we removed.
We took that out. F, please, a motion.
Make a motion for Resolution 26-14, revising senior millage ballot languages for final action.
Support.
Motion is support. Gary, can you explain what that was and why it's final action? We just got that today. It was not on the prior ballot, but there's some election laws that relate to this.
Yeah, we're running up against deadlines to get it to the clerk, get the ballots printed and make it in time. It's getting tight.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item G, please.
Do the same, make a motion, resolution 26-15, revising ambulance service ballot language, and this is for final action also.
Is that for final action, Gary, as well?
Yes.
Okay, it's not listed that way on the agenda. Same reason?
Same reason.
Okay, any further discussion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? G carries. Other ways and means matters, none. Have information only. Motion, please.
I'll make a motion to receive and file the items for information A and B.
Support.
Motion and second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Item 10, please. Motion.
So moved.
Support.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item
Motion to
11.
adjourn.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming.
And